In my previous video, I talked about the importance of writing, but I didn't really dive deep into it, and I thought it would be helpful to just talk a bit more about my writing process. First of all, I wanted to lay down some reasons as to why I feel so strongly about writing and as to why it has helped me so much. And the first reason is that I didn't know this, but writing triggers speaking, because apparently they share overlapping regions in the brain, so practicing one can reinforce the other one. Speaking has different motor skills, but writing just activates this language processing areas that help you with forming sentences and generating words. And when you write, you're basically working out that muscle. So when you're having a conversation, that muscle is already like so strong that you're able to be more fluent and more natural thanks to that. This takes me to my next point, which is that this really helps with building confidence. Because I feel like people really fear speaking, not because of speaking per se with another person, which may happen if you're an introvert or you're not very good with social skills, but I feel like it's more the fact of making mistakes and having people hearing you make those mistakes in real time. And for me, writing offers this safe territory for you to experiment with the language. It's like a rehearsal for real life situations, and the more you write, the more confidently you will communicate in a spoken conversation, I guess. And the next reason is that you get to see your mistakes on paper, because I feel like with speaking, unless you have someone pointing out the mistakes you keep making all the time, you're pretty much likely to forget them or overlook them. But with writing, it's like it's in front of you, like you have your mistakes on a paper. And for me, that's very helpful with identifying my weaknesses and knowing what I need to work on. And lastly, I feel like writing really helps you structure your thoughts, and structuring your thoughts and organizing your ideas really help you with making your message more clear and being more fluent when it comes to debating about a topic or just conversating. And I say this because for the longest time I've avoided writing. I know some people fear speaking, but my main fear was always writing. It was always my weakest skill in whatever language. Even in my native one, I'm pretty bad at writing. And then ironically, I really need writing for learning. Like whatever it is I'm learning, I really need to have pen and paper with me. And when it came to learning new words, like when I was learning English, I wasn't really into language learning, or like I didn't really have effective learning methods. So in order to memorize new words, I just did what I knew, which was to repeatedly write down new words and just repeatedly do that until I kind of internalized them and memorized them. And eventually I got really tired of that and really bored, and I decided to get a bit more creative. And I guess over the years, I've developed a pretty good writing structure or writing module, and I've used this for learning English, then for learning French, and now I'm using it for Hungarian. And this structure has different phases, because for me it was very helpful and effective to have a different writing process for different language levels, and it's a very simple writing structure. So the model is divided in 3 main phases. And the first phase is sentence building. And here you're basically a beginner, like you just started learning the language. You first want to really work on having an effective capturing tool. You need to be able to capture new words in a very effective way. And you can do this with a digital tool, like I have my phone here. I'm gonna show you my Hungarian list, because I'm honestly proud of it. Magyar. I don't know if you can see it. Or you can go also with a physical note, or you can do both as I'm doing. And also because like for the longest time I've been overthinking so much this. Like I love handwriting and I love having this little notebook, but I really wanted to have my words in the same, I guess, in the same box. Honestly, if you really like writing, why wouldn't you do that? Because at the end of the day, it's like, what do you enjoy more about learning? So I decided that I'm gonna go with both of them. Like I have my Anki here and my notes here. And Anki, by the way, is an application for making flashcards, and it's very useful. And I just go through both of them when I do my revision, and that's all. Like, you don't need to overcomplicate things. And once you have that capturing tool, play with the words. Try to create your own sentences. And I would suggest you really create simple and practical things that you can actually use. And also try to make a challenge out of it. Like say, every morning I'm gonna try to write 5 to 10 sentences. Again, I really emphasize the importance of starting really small and really simple, and then gradually go for longer sentences and more sophisticated ones. Start with Tengo un amigo que va al gimnasio. Tengo un amigo que va al gimnasio de lunes a viernes de 7 a 8 de la mañana. And the next phase is journaling. It gets a bit more complicated, but just a tiny bit. It's just a step forward. Because now you're building sentences, but you're building sentences in the context of one of your days. And here you're somewhere in between a beginner and an almost intermediate student. Like you're in between those two. And I feel like journaling is such a powerful tool for two main reasons. First of all, because I feel like you have an emotional connection to what you're writing because it's stuff that happened to you. And then because it's a journal and you should do it every day because journal tous les jours. It's a nice practice to integrate into your daily routine. And also like 75% of our days are pretty much the same unless you have a very exciting life. And you're essentially reinforcing the vocabulary that you're gonna need when discussing about yourself. And then the last phase is something that I called the random linkage method phase. And this is just a fancy name that I coined for a very simple method. And it goes like this. So you have the list of new words that you've been building up over time. And here you will have to choose like between 3 and 5 or even more words. And you have to link them somehow. Like it doesn't matter if they're words that have nothing to do in between them. Like I think it's even better. And you have to link them either through creating a story or just writing some narrative in where you can actually use all of these words. I think stories are really powerful because stories are really sticky to the human brain. Like everything that happens to us and the way we understand the world is through stories. Like religions and other schools of thought are based on stories. I guess we're very good at having actors in our lives and having a lot of drama. So the more craziness and emotion you put into your stories or narratives in order to link the random words, the better. I also write a lot of stuff that's pretty cringe, but that's not the point of the method. And honestly, this method is not really a memorization method unless you make it one. For me, it was just a tool to get rid of this fear around writing, and it's just my way of making writing fun, because now like I would never thought that I would be so excited to just write about different stuff. And also is a way for me to use new words in context in order to see if I understand their meaning or not. And if you really want to make it a memorization technique, I would suggest you go back to your texts, like revise them as much as you can. And you will also think like, okay, then why don't I just memorize them and I don't have to go through all the writing process? Well, beyond of the already mentioned reasons, like the using in context and like just getting rid of the fear of writing, to me, an interesting thing that happened is that now whenever I remember one word, I remember also the rest of the words that were in the random linkage text. So if I wrote a story with 5 different random words, just remembering one would trigger remembering the rest of them. So that's why I think it's so effective and powerful. And of course, ideally, you will want to have your writings corrected. And if you have a teacher, then that's amazing. But if you're self-studying like me, I think ChatGPT, yeah, I think ChatGPT is really a good option for that. I just prompt him into like, okay, you're gonna be my writing teacher now, or my English teacher now. I need you to correct this and that in helping me improve, but don't change the meaning of the text, blah, blah, blah. I also really love handwriting. Like, this is the text where I've started using the random linkage method. Wait, I don't know if you can see. And yeah, I really enjoy the process of just like feeling paper and feeling pen on paper. So it sucks that I have to digitalize the notes and then having them corrected, but like it's something that I think it's worth it because of all the joy I get out of this. So just find your method. If you prefer just writing on your laptop, then by all means please do so. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I was editing and I realized I forgot to mention a couple of things that I think are important. And first of all, I did a little drawing because, well, I don't know what I'm gonna put it, but sometimes I feel like I cannot yet express myself to the point that I would love to, and I think a visual always helps. And I wanted to say that you don't have to rigidly follow this structure like this. Like maybe you're a beginner, but you want to try the random linkage method. So you just grab some words and you try to link them by creating a story. I personally find that very difficult, and I feel like that can demotivate me because writing in itself, it's like very difficult, especially at the beginning. But maybe you're a beginner and you want to try like journaling, so please do so, because I think that's pretty doable. And I feel like you can even combine these things, like even if you're in an advanced level, for example, let's say one day in the morning you decide to build some very sophisticated and advanced level phrases. Then after lunch you decide to journal, but in a very, like imagining that you're a poet or a writer, like putting yourself into the shoes of that person and just trying to really express yourself. And maybe after dinner you can do a random linkage exercise where you use the phrases that you crafted in the morning. I don't know, you can play with this. It's not a rigid structure to follow. Obviously you can adjust it to your goals and to your level. And lastly, I wanted to mention that I know it's not an easy fix for your language skills. Like I know it demands effort and I know it's a slow process. That's why I think it's so effective. And I know we're not used to this in today's society, like effort and slowness. I'm also guilty of this because I'm very impatient. But the sooner you start, the easier it gets over time. I can promise you that. And honestly, the impact writing has had on my speaking and comprehension skills is 100% worth it. So I really want to encourage you to tap into your creativity. And yeah, I think that was all. I hope this helped you somehow. I hope you can help someone, and I will see you in the next one.